Before we discuss the access modifiers, let's get familiar with some terms used in the context of a C# application. Class, namespace, and assembly. In any C# application, a class is very basic unit. In fact, anything you program in C#, you basically start with writing a class. A class is blueprint of the object. It contains some data and actions together. Namespace is used to organize the C# code in certain levels, suitable for that application. With namespace, we can organize the classes of our application in logical groups. An assembly is final output built into a single executable or binary file, typically having extensions like .exe or .dll. An assembly may be comprised of multiple namespaces. Also, a single namespace may be used in multiple assemblies.
Mark, that is something complicated. Can you give more details?
Sure, David, you will get clear with this terminology as you start writing applications. For now, just remember that namespace is a logical group of different classes. An application may have, and generally has, multiple namespaces. And an assembly is the build product of your written code.
Mark, are these terms related to access modifiers, which we are going to discuss today?
Yes, Zira. Access modifiers actually decides whether you can access a class or its member from outside that class, from outside the namespace, and from outside the assembly. So, here we go with our first access modifier, public. When you define a type or member with public access modifier, then it has no access restriction. You can access it within the class, within the namespace, within the whole assembly, and even from outside the assembly. An opposite to the public modifier is the private modifier. It allows the members to be accessed only from within the same class. If you try to access a private member from outside the class, the compiler should give you indication of error, and the code will not build. The third modifier is internal. This modifier allows accessing the members only within the same assembly. So, this is useful if you want to access members anywhere within your application, and avoid access from outside the application. We have seen the concept of inheritance, in which a class derives from another class. Suppose we want that the members be accessed only from the derived class, and still keeping them safe from other non-derived classes, then protected modifier is used. A protected class member only has access from the class itself and from the derived classes. And that derived class may be in same or other assembly. So, here is the summary of access modifiers we discussed so far. There are two other access modifiers, we will discuss them in our next discussion.